everyone saying that Ballerina Farm should just leave clearly doesn't know how hard it is to, one, leave a relationship like that, two, leave when you have 8 children, and three, and most importantly, leave a man who is the heir of $1 billion corporation. This man could quite literally hold that woman in court for the next 30 years. He has enough money to use the court system to his advantage. There's no way in hell that she has enough money to fight him for as long as he can fight in court. And he can just keep going on and on and on and on. So like, yeah, she can leave, but she'd have to leave without her children for quite a while. And leaving your abuser, whether he physically or mentally abuses her, with your children, that is an incredibly devastating decision to make. So at the end of the day, she's likely going to stay with her children, even if it's at the detriment of her own health, safety, happiness. Also, too, a lot of people are like, she chose this. There's so many times when people go into a relationship or a marriage without truly knowing what you're choosing. I was married and got divorced because the man and the relationship that I chose was not the man in the relationship that I left. Also, people grow and change, and also pop out 8 children, have no help, and on and on and on. So like, yeah, it's easy to say, why doesn't she just leave, or she chose this, but there's a lot more to it.
Hello ladies, and welcome back to my channel. I just want to come on here to add a few thoughts based around my last video where I talked about the Ballerina Farm. Now, this is going to be my final thoughts on this drama or controversy or whatever it is, because, people are still talking about it. But as I learn more about the story, I just feel like I have to come on here and express my thoughts. Now, the first thing I'm going to address is the people that are saying, oh, it's her choice and she chose that and blah, 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 and she's happy, whatever. Okay, fine. What I'm asking for here is some empathy. People are literally saying that I don't feel sorry for that girl, talking about white privilege and a bunch of BS that has absolutely nothing to do with the topic. We need to have some empathy, because I was one of the first person that say that people do not like victims. We don't. We do not like victims. People make movies about serial killers. People make movies about Jeffrey Dahmer and all of these people. And nobody are making movies about their victims. Therefore, what that means and what that tells me about society in general is that we have an inherent hatred or disliking, or whatever you want to call it, to victims, especially female victims. And what I want you to do, if you're one of those people that say that stuff, look within yourself and ask yourself why you have that kind of mindset and why you hate a victim for being a victim of some kind of misfortune or abuse or whatever. Because this shit is weird. It really is weird. Like, I don't understand how we as women don't have empathy for other women. What is needed here is empathy. And a lot of y'all are lacking in empathy. A lot of y'all have low empathy, and it shows. It really does. Okay, so moving on. For the Ballerina fans, y'all can talk in the comments all you want and talk about, oh, I'm a hater and we attacking them. Y'all can do whatever. I don't care. What you'll have to understand is that if someone puts their life on social media and they have millions of followers, there are going to be people that are going to criticize their lifestyle. And we have the right to say what we have to say about a situation. And I am in no way saying bad things about this person. What I'm seeing here is someone who is clearly a victim of narcissistic abuse. And if you do not know what narcissistic abuse is, and if you do not believe in that stuff, and you think that the trad wife life is amazing and wonderful, and these people are happy, then I do not know why you're on this channel. Leave, okay? Go back to the Ballerina Farm page that is obviously owned by her husband. Her name is not on anything. Go back there and keep supporting that man, because that's who you're supporting. You're not supporting her, you're supporting that man. You need to go back and fangirl for Daniel or whatever her husband name is, because I don't even know why y'all are here. All right, so that's my disclaimer. Let's get into it. Now, this family is a Mormon family. And after I made that video, I went and I did a little more research about Mormonism. And I saw some videos of women that escape this Mormon lifestyle. It's kind of given Scientology. It's kind of given cult. That's what is given to me. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm not saying it's a cult. All I'm saying that is given cult. That's what I'm saying, because the way these people live their life is very different compared to the general public. Okay, these people are living in some kind of time loop or something like that. And then after my research, I saw a pattern of these women that marry these wealthy, conservative Mormon men. And these women literally have zero rights in those relationships, in those situations. These women are tied down by having a bunch of kids, and these women struggle to escape that situation. There's a video that I saw, and I'm going to post this video. I might post this video in the beginning of the video or the end of the video. I don't know. I'm going to post it. This woman is basically sharing her experience, basically being like the Ballerina Farm girl. And she said that even though she has divorced that man for years, remember, these people have money. And if people have money, they can have you in court for years. They can make you miserable. They want to make sure that you are destitute. How dare you have autonomy and decide that you don't want this anymore? And how dare you leave? And how dare you be independent? They will make your life a living hell. They want you to be destitute. That's basically what the woman said in the video, and I believe her. They want you to be destitute. And we've seen the child wives come on social media, because everybody who is watching this video probably have a TikTok account. And even if you don't have a TikTok account, you already know. These child wives, they come on social media after the divorce and they share their stories. They will tell you that they were in a relationship for 15 years, 20 years. And when they were left with nothing. They are not going to make you walk away with anything. This girl has nothing. The person that did the interview, that brought light into the situation, expressed her frustration of not being able to have a one-on-one sit down with that woman. Her husband was there the entire time. He controlled the entire interview and everything. He was there the entire time. The Ballerina Farm business is registered under his name. He named that business after her dreams. I want you to pay attention to the plain words. It's not Ballerina's Farm. It's Ballerina Farm. This woman got into Juilliard. Do you know how difficult it is to get into that school? It is so difficult to get into that school. And she was one of the first women in history to get pregnant while in Juilliard. So ghetto. All because of a man. And it is my belief that that man is punishing that woman for rejecting him for 6 months. Because if you go back and you read the story, you would see that she wasn't interested in him. He was pursuing her for 6 months, so much so that he pulled strings in his daddy airline company to get a seat next to her on a flight so that he can start manipulating her and trapping her into his web of lies and abuse. From what I've learned, she was very young and they literally got married in 3 months. So I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, well, she chose this and blah, 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 and I don't feel sorry for her. You bitches do not have empathy. I'm going to hold your hands and I'm going to tell you that you got to learn to have empathy for other women, because you'll be the same people that want empathy from others, but you don't even have an ounce of empathy towards someone else. Like this, like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand this mindset, this pathology. I don't get it. You'll need to get off my page. You'll need to leave my channel alone, because my channel is not for you. This is one of the reasons why I try to keep it low key and try to keep most of my work underground, because most of you ladies that have been supporting me from day one, you'll know that the majority of my work is behind a paywall, is on my Patreon, etc. I've only recently started posting on this YouTube channel about a few months ago, because I made a commitment to be more active on this channel and more consistent on this channel. And, it's a struggle, but I'm getting there. I'm doing it. Now, if Ballerina Farm was to try to leave this man, it's going to be very difficult for her. This woman is trapped. And, what pisses me off is not even the article. It's not even the fact that she has 8 children. That's not what pisses me off the most. What pisses me off the most is the fact that this man went out of his way to humiliate this woman on the internet by giving her an apron, giving her a gift that symbolizes more labor. You all think that's cute. The people that are defending this, you all think this is cute. You all think this is goals. This is what you all think is goals. And this shit worries me, that in 2024, women are looking at this dynamic and thinking that it's goals. And what pisses me off about these toxic couples, they always get on the internet and showcase their lifestyle and make it look so aspirational. When the cameras are turned off and behind closed doors is a lot of bullshit happening. I have a really good relationship with my husband, and I'm not posting that shit and fronting that shit online. So if you see a woman or a couple online and they're showing their entire life and it looks like goals and like a fairy tale or whatever, ask yourself why. Because I can guarantee you, healthy couples are not doing all of that. I've seen so many of these couples after a breakup, and and you only find out after the breakup the amount of abuse and bullshit that was going on. But when they were together, oh my God, they were the most perfect couples. And if you're a Black woman, you probably remember that couple, Jamie and Nikki. I'll find a picture and insert it here. Jamie and Nikki. They were goals. I mean, I'm going to be the first one to admit that I love that couple. That couple was just everything. Only to find out that the guy was a manipulative narcissist. And you know something? A lot of these couples have this one thing in common, and I want you all to pay attention to it. Jamie and Nikki got together when she was very young, and she gave up her dream of modeling to be with that man. There's that. So let me tell you something about Jamie. Is it Jamie? No, Nikki. Nikki's the girl. Oh my God. Nikki. Very beautiful girl that lives in Australia, and she's of Sudanese origin. What some people probably don't know is that Nikki has a younger sister named Ducky, and you probably heard of her because I think she won Australia's Next Top Model, or maybe she competed in the Australia's Next Top Model, and she went on to be a very popular and successful model. No, that should have been Nikki. Okay. And when I say should have been Nikki, I'm not saying that, Ducky doesn't deserve, being a model, but Nikki was on that path. And it's funny that I'm saying this because I literally just watched a video on YouTube about destiny swapping. It's kind of weird because it's like her and her sister swap destinies, but it is what it is. But Nikki was on that path to becoming one of the most famous model because she had the look. All right. And I hate to say this, but I have to tell the truth. Nikki was, in my opinion, way better looking than her sister Ducky and had more star quality than her sister Ducky. I'm not saying that Ducky's not beautiful, but I always believe and I always felt like, Nikki was the cuter one. And if Nikki hadn't met Jamie and given up her dreams of becoming a model, because she was already modeling. She was already modeling, like she was going, I think she was signed up to some modeling agency or something, and she gave up that dream. This is the pattern I'm talking about. Women giving up their dreams to be with men, to be tradwise. All right. Another pattern with these so-called toxic couples is a bunch of kids. Bitch always pregnant. But that's a whole other conversation. This situation, Ballerina Farm wanted to be a ballerina, and she gave up her dream to be with that man. You all seeing the pattern here? We've read in one of the books in the book club. And for those of you ladies, let me tell you something. If you are not reading, you are not going to get very far in life, and you're not going to be able to achieve your goals. It might take you a very long time to achieve your goals. But I'm telling you, all the answers that you need are in books. And this is one of the reasons why I host a book club every Sunday. That book club is literally my passion project. Like, that's the one thing, like, if I ever stop doing all of this, that's the one thing I'll keep doing. Reading or having, like, my little book club. If I decide to walk away from all of this, I'm going to keep my book club. I'm just saying. But anyways, if you're interested in joining the book club, the link is in the description. Okay, go to my Patreon and sign up for the study group tier. And yes, this is a shameless plug. I don't give a shit. Okay. Anyways, we were reading in one of those books in our book club. I can't remember the name of the book, but the author was basically saying that people who cannot recognize patterns are unable to predict. If you can recognize a patterns, because I share those two patterns with you all, the same pattern with two different relationships, and that patterns exist everywhere. If you recognize that pattern, you can already predict where that relationship is going. You can predict what's happening in that relationship because you are able to recognize a pattern. And a lot of people do not know how to recognize patterns, which is why they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over because they are incapable of recognizing patterns. That's why if you are the black sheep in your family and you're the one that is breaking generational curses, then you are literally the only one that can recognize patterns and predict outcomes, which is why you decide to make a different decision and go down a completely different path from your family. Back to the gift. If you go and you study narcissism and narcissistic abuse, one of the things that a narcissist will always do is weaponize gift giving. They will always do that. They will always find a way to hurt you, embarrass you, or disappoint you when it comes to gift giving. Watching that video was so painful because she was thinking it's tickets to Greece. Then she thought it was a hat, and it wasn't a hat, it was an apron. And the way she reacted, it's so fake. It is so fake. And then the passive aggressive, you're welcome. That was so uncalled for. So anyways, if you can't find any empathy in your heart to understand what's happening here, then I am not for you. This channel is not for you. Please leave. Do not subscribe. Do not do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just leave. Turn around and go away because we don't want you here. This channel is a channel for women. This is a channel for self-development and self-mastery. I will never come on here and tell you to depend on a man. I will never come on here and tell you that you should get the bag no matter what, at the risk of your own freedom or, I don't know, peace of mind. I would never tell you that. This is one of the reasons why I don't tell women to swirl, or I don't tell women to date old men. That's not what I'm doing. Yes, I believe in hypergamy because honestly, that's the only way that a woman can leave a good legacy and, leave generational wealth for her children, unless she can make it herself, obviously. And of course, I do encourage you to make your own money because your freedom and your peace of mind is more valuable than $1 billion. And if you cannot see that, then you need to go and follow someone else. Okay, go back to Shira, go do the sprinkle, and date the old raggedy man with the dentures. You can do that. But we don't do that. We don't do that shit here. You are too beautiful and too valuable to be doing that to yourself. You can do better. Anyways, I want to also add that don't be surprised if you see some damage control. Don't be surprised if you see the entire family going to Greece. Don't be surprised because, again, this is a PR nightmare. And if that man is smart, he will try to fix it. I'm not even going to say if he loves her. We know he doesn't love her. We know he hates her. He clearly hates her because I want you to go to your husband or your boyfriend or your father and ask him this hypothetical question. Say, hey, if we were rich and all I wanted for my birthday was to go to Greece, what would you give me? Would you give me a vacation to Greece or would you give me an apron? And I can tell you, I can guarantee you, most of y'all are going to get an answer where the man will say, well, yes, we're going to Greece. Because most men, if they have the means, they will want to do that for the women that they love. And I mean it when I say most men, if they have the means. Unfortunately, most men don't have the means. But when you come into a situation where a man has the means and he refused to do the one thing, refused to give you the one thing, you cannot tell me, you cannot look me in my face, you cannot play in my face and tell me that that man doesn't hate you. This man has a subjugation kink, and he's living out his fantasy. He's living his dream life at the expense of hers. And again, if you all kind of see that and you all are blind and you all think that couples is goals, why are you here? Because women like me will always be the villain. We will always be the villain because we try to open the eyes of women. We will always be called old and bitter, and we are man haters, or we aggressive or whatever. I've heard it all before. 3 years ago, I was in Mexico with a girlfriend, and we met a group of guys, three men. They asked us to come to Tulum. We were in Cancun. They asked us to come to Tulum, which is 2 hours away driving. They were not staying at a hotel. They were staying at an Airbnb. And I told that girl, we are not going to that thing. We do not know these niggas. If they can't stay here and have drinks with us or spend time with us, then what is the point? She didn't believe me. She was like, oh, no, he's nice or whatever. And I was saying no. And you know what that guy said? That guy got very defensive and angry and called me aggressive. But I don't give a shit because you know what? I know who the fuck I am. And if you were in my Patreon around that time, I already shared that story on my Patreon. I shared the story. I posted videos of the 3 men. And that man was so angry when I took that video. I'm like, why are you angry that I took this video? You are invited my girlfriend to go and hang out with y'all. I need to have evidence that you guys exist in case this bitch disappears. Because if a man had good intentions, he's not going to be angry because you're looking out for the safety of your friend. Why is he angry? Eventually, I was able to reason with this girl because she really wanted to go and spend time with these strange men. And I'm like, girl, don't do it. Eventually, I was able to reason with her. We got back to the hotel, and of course, he called her, and he's on the phone talking about, oh, he's telling me some bullshit like, oh, you're aggressive or whatever. I said, listen, what I'm getting here is a lot of emotions, and I don't do feelings. He was so mad when I said that, y'all. He was so mad. I gave her a test. I said, listen, if you want to see if this guy has good intentions for you, ask this guy to go to lunch with you. Go to lunch, and if he shows up for the lunch and, he comes out and he meets you for lunch and he pays for it or whatever, then, you can decide what you're going to do from there. So she went and she asked him, instead of going to your place all the way to Tulum, why not meet up for lunch? You know what he said? He said no. And that's when that's when she finally saw where I was coming from. But the whole time when all of this was going down, I was the aggressive villain. I was the man hater and the bitter bitch. So, women will always be villains when men cannot get their way. And I've told you ladies before, any movie that you watch where there's a female villain, Cruella, Maleficent, Ursula, all these women that are villains in all these stories, pay attention to those women because some of us are exactly like those women in our mindset and everything like that. In the stories, of course, they make us to be unattractive and ugly and witch-like. And of course, those women are always older because we all know how the patriarchy hates older women, especially older women that are independent and older women that still look good and older women that have their freedom. And the young girl is always the angel. She's like 15. Like these girls be like so young, like Romeo and Juliet, like them kids were like 14 or something like that. They'd be so young. What decisions can a 14-year-old make when it comes to the way it impacts their life? I mean, come on. But anyways, those are my final thoughts on this Ballerina Farm controversy or drama or whatever you want to call it. And I highly encourage you ladies to have some empathy and look at this from a place of empathy, please. You all are saying that, oh, she chose this or whatever. Yeah, but you have never made a bad decision in your life. Not one of you all made a bad decision. Not one of you all made a decision that you regretted. I made a lot of decisions in my 20s that I regretted. And I mean by regretted, of course, I've already overcome that. I've already gotten past that. So, I don't have regrets anymore. But, there were times that I felt regret for some of the decisions that I made in my 20s. And, back then there was no social media or anything like that. So, and I kept, my L's to myself. So there was no one judging me and telling me that, oh, you chose that. You know what? I'm just going to end it here. All I'm asking is to have some empathy. And with that, I'm just going to end this video right here. Hit the link in my description and come and join my Patreon for more in-depth videos and, content. And if you are interested in moving up in class and social status, I have a series on my Patreon right now that is teaching you exactly how to do that. And I encourage you to sign up today. Thanks for listening.